How do you take on the military-industrial complex in Congress?
First of all, right now, it needs to be cut in half. Not even that. I say we need to go back to pre-9/11 military funding. You know what I mean? So that is nowhere near where we're at now. How we cut it is we talk about it. And you have somebody like me talking about it, not extemporaneously. Because AOC, she tries to talk about it, but they can easily shout her down. What does she know? She's a bartender from the Bronx. She doesn't know. I'm a highly decorated disabled veteran. I've been there, done that, got the T-shirt to prove it. So I can call them on their BS when they need to be called on their BS, number one. Number two, how we attack it is we show people how much money we're spending versus what we're not spending on education or healthcare. 55% of discretionary spending in this country is on the military budget. We're approaching $1 trillion. Meanwhile, our Department of Education budget is $67 billion. Military budget, with all the things factored in, is $790 billion. Yvette Clarke voted for that, to fund that. So we're spending 13, 14 times more on bombs and bullets than we are on books and backpacks. We take it on by introducing bills to cut the damn spending of the military-industrial complex. We have bases all over the world. We are literally an empire. Every empire before us has fallen. We have history. The Ottomans, the Turks, the Assyrians, the Romans, the Greeks, they've all fallen because they stretched themselves too thin and they did not take care of the home state when they needed to take care of it. And we are falling in that same trap. History is our guide, and we're going to be doomed if we do not right this ship. And believe it or not, America is a big ship. And just like the Titanic, when we see the iceberg is climate change, it's income inequality, it's racism. We see it dead ahead of us. So we have to start turning now. If not, it'll be too late to turn. 10 years from now, when the climate is wrecked, we can't turn it back. We have to start turning now. So
final couple of, well, actually not the final thing, because we're going to talk about how people can get involved in your campaign. Yeah. But I want to, one thing that I am curious about, because I think, again, we're still in the fight and Bernie Sanders has done a lot of things right. But one thing that has not happened is definitely, like, his campaign has not turned out a bunch of new people. That was part of the strategy. It's not happening. Part of my theory as to why that isn't happening, frankly, is because I had an interesting conversation the other day, and maybe I'm taking too much out of this, but it really hit me. I went and was invited to speak at a college in Pennsylvania. The speech was over. It was fun. By the way, thank you. Great time to if any of the students or professors watching. They got me a cab to go back to New York. And I got in the cab, and it was nice. It was very nice. It's like almost like a 2-hour drive. So it was a woman driver. She had her boyfriend with her. And I chatted with them. They're a nice couple. And they wanted to know, what I did. And I was too tired to kind of sometimes I make up fake things so I don't have to talk about this stuff. But I just say, I was just giving a talk, whatever. And so, and they were like, and I remember the woman, she was like, I don't really like politics because you just don't know who's right. And I said, I was like, I'll give you the information on my show. I got you. You can find out who's right pretty easily. You just got to watch me. And then we were absolutely. But it was I was joking. And I wasn't sure. I mean, honestly, probably, to be really blunt, if her boyfriend wasn't a black man, I might have thought she was a Trump voter. By kind of chatting with her, that kind of, to be honest, would give me some pause, like maybe not. And she's like, well, I'll tell you this. I don't like Donald Trump. I think he's very rude. I was like, that's one way of putting it. He's a rude guy, no doubt about that. And then I couldn't, I had to, at this point, I'm just like, all right, well, I'll tell you what. I'm a 1,000,001%. I'm a Bernie guy, 100%. And both of them actually looked at me and they were like, he's obviously a decent man. He's definitely clear. Like she said, that's a good choice. And what was but they're very likely not going to vote, either of those folks. I could, that they are not. And then, we talked about a million other things and we left it at that. But we talked enough to know that life is not easy, And I think that the terrible catch-22 of our kind of politics that relies on mobilizing new people, whether it be Bernie Sanders nationally, whether it be you in Brooklyn, whether it be someone maybe like in the Ozarks, there is that commonality of people who are out of the system and for every type of reason imaginable, from structural racism to class to whatever, they're out. They're on the receiving end. That a lot of them, I feel, might not be mobilized until something actually happens.
Yeah.
And then that's the catch-22, because in order for something to happen, well, voting, I don't think it's just voting, but voting is helpful. Having you in Congress is a big goddamn difference. Having Bernie Sanders as president is a big goddamn difference. So as you're out, I mean, that's a long preamble, so take as long as you want. I know that part of your vision. You look at the congressional map, you think there's several 100,000 people in this district. What, 9,000 people are voting? By math, you could win this thing in a landslide. If you got 30,000 human beings to say, I trust this person to be there for me, what's the barrier to doing that? And how are you addressing that?
The barrier to doing it is there's a lot of different things that make up the barrier. One is money, time, the areas you choose to go to, because our district is very, very, very diverse, but it's very segregated. You know what I mean? Like literally certain lines determine thousands of dollars in different income.
Yep.
I mean, so those are the barriers. How we do that is, listen, if folks know about me, they know I'm a veteran. Nobody's going to outwork me. You know what I mean? So like you said, Bernie Sanders needs to mobilize new people, and he hasn't done that in a sense. Bernie Sanders, instead of holding a rally in Queens, should hold a rally in Crown Heights. He should hold a rally in Flatbush, in East Flatbush, because there's so many people who are just dejected with the system. Like, it doesn't work for me. But obviously, the message that Bernie Sanders puts out resonates with people. But when you show up in those spaces and you are in those spaces, people can see, wow, he's not just sending surrogates out here. He's here. So maybe I should get off my ass and get mobilized and go vote so I can actually change the system. Listen, your vote matters. If it didn't matter, Republicans wouldn't be trying so hard to keep you from using it.
There it is.
Nobody breaks into your house and steals a toothbrush. They steal the valuable thing.
That's right.
Republicans are trying to steal the valuable thing. They get it. And Barack Obama, who was a centrist, but for all of his centrist policies, scared the hell out of the Republican Party, because they actually saw for the first time, oh shit,
that's right.
Young people, people of color are actually voting, and he won in a landslide. They had never seen that before. So that's when they started like, we can't let any of them vote. So going into those spaces, that is the main thing, meeting voters where they are. You know, whether it's Flatbush Avenue, Utica, Nostrand, Rogers, I'm over there. So instead of just talking to the affluent person in Park Slope, I'm talking to the dude who's standing in front of the Golden Crust with Jordans on and a hoodie on, because he looks just like me. Because I'm sitting here right now in a hoodie, but I'm still a congressional candidate. But most people who run for office look at that guy, he's not a triple prime voter. They're probably scared of him, so they walk right by him. But no, come here, young brother. Let me tell you why this is so important. Let me tell you that there are thousands of people who died for this right. There's thousands of people who sacrificed to get you to where you are. So do not squander this right. You have to exercise it, because guess what? You may not like politics. Politics surely loves you. I defy you right now to tell me any aspect of your life that's not involved in politics, even the religion you practice, because we have a First Amendment that says you can practice it or you can be free from it. The clothes you wear came from somewhere. The drink that I'm drinking was inspected by the FDA. Everything in this room that we're in was manufactured. There was a tax on it. That was a political decision. Everything you do is a political decision. So guess what? If something is going to control every part or have a say in every part of your life, you damn well better have a say in it.
Oh, that's just perfectly put. I love that. I want that to be replicated and sent and sent and sent. All right. You just watched a Michael Brooks show video. Subscribe to get them all. Why wouldn't you? Don't be foolish. Click subscribe below and become a patron as well. Patreon.com/TMBS. Thanks, everybody.